and then I could come back to the hub. Who are you? Hello, and welcome to the next devlog for my Hololive fan game. This video is going to be focused on solidifying the foundation of the code for the game and getting a build done so I can play the game outside of the engine. The first thing I've done since the last video was adding this little idiot as a little marker while I'm working in engine and messing with the player. I've also added this button to change between the different mascots, since before you could only do that through the inspector, and obviously when the game is its own build, you can't do that. Now in the last video, if you were Chatini, you would reach the top of the tower and see CC, but you no longer! I've made it so now when you enter the main tower, you change the Oshi at the top and bum-ba-da-bum! You got Aura now! It's part of the scriptable object for the mascots. Basically, when you enter the tower, the game object at the top will get the information from the player's scriptable object and use that info to fill in what's missing, since it'll start the level with no information. So now it's even easier to set up the new mascots for the future. Also, when you take this door, it'll bring you to the... That's not supposed to happen. Alright, I wrote some code and it's fixed! That wasn't so bad. I hope there's no other bugs that are worse than that. It gets worse. Like now, if you exit the tower, you just can't change your mascot anymore. It won't let you. Well, beyond that, I've set the player to don't destroy on load. So now the same player object will persist between scenes. So here I go from the hub to the main tower, and then I can come back to the hub. Who are you? Yeah, that's another bug. Wait, does that mean if I finish the tower again, I can get another one? The answer is yes. All right, now I have to see how far I can push this. One moment, please. I apparently can push it pretty far, but I spent the last 30 minutes of my recording time just duplicating Otomos, and now I have enough to make a mini wave pool at the bottom of the tower. Go, my minions! Since that is not supposed to happen, I've decided to make the hard decision as a game designer and fix the bug. So now there's an array where if there are any game objects that would otherwise exist out of the array, it just simply won't. It won't exist. So yay, bug fixed! Here I'm hitting my head on the bars of my enclosure, trying to get the mascot button to change the mascot after returning to the hub. And for the longest time, I just couldn't figure out why. And then I realized the button that normally changes the mascot doesn't exist from scene to scene, so when you return to the hub, there's no code attached to it. I'm literally pressing a dead button. So instead of a game manager script that holds the array of scriptable objects and making that persist between scenes, I figured I could just make something that stays in the hub instead. So I did that. And it works now. And this is just the beginning of my sanity slowly slipping between my fingertips as each second feels like minutes and minutes feel like hours, and next thing I know, it's not just dark outside, it's the next day. Now that it's the next day, I decided to move on to the next issue, giving the medal to the player when they reach the top of the tower and making sure the scriptable object remembers that, as well as which of the two medals the player has earned. I was tussling with this for a while, trying to figure out the best method to it. At one point, I even tried to instantiate a prefab from the scriptable object from the project folder. I don't know where that idea came from, but when I'm debugging and trying to build up features, I do a lot of tinkering and experimentation, most of the time resulting in failures. You failed! Eventually, I landed on the idea where the player grabs the bool info from the scriptable object and sets whatever medal to active and went from there. And by went from there, I mean I went and added a pause button to the game because I felt like it. It just lets you resume gameplay, return to the main menu, and or quit the game. I'll get to options later, especially when I start introducing audio to the game. Also, if you're new to gaming or game development, you may not know the phrase, "It's not a bug, it's a feature," and by golly, they're right! I didn't realize when making the player persist between scenes that when you go to the main menu, the player follows you, which is absolutely considered a bug in this case. However, I decided to make a boundary box for the player like it's a tiny level, so when the player goes to the main menu and brings the player with them, you can now run around the main menu with your mascot. So ha! No longer a bug. Behold, a new feature to my game. Sorry, I've been in my room developing for too long. I need to dial my sanity back long enough to finish this video. At this point, I've been coding for 2 to 3 days, and the only new art asset I made was that Aura sprite, and I think we can all agree that it can be better. I do plan on redrawing sprites if I'm not happy with them, because right now I'm still in the phase of needing certain assets purely for testing code, and I'm not worrying about how things necessarily look. But I will say, the weird blue tinged gold metal was bothering me, so I just recolored the gold metal and A sprite to actually look more diamond looking. I even decided to make a cursor too. My intention was to originally make it look like the Hololive logo, but as a mouse, but I gave up on that. I just went with the blue normal mouse. Maybe I'll figure that out in the future, I don't know. Next, I decided to make the level calling function of the game a bit more reliant and easy to use. So instead of attaching that code to the player, I made a new game object and made an array for the levels and plugged it in there, and the only info other than that is just the player's height. For a little while though, I couldn't figure out why it was spitting out 19 for the Y value when debugging it, only to realize that I'm an idiot, and I was getting the Y value of that game object and not the player. So after an hour of debugging things, I figured that out and fixed that. And now levels will appear and disappear when the player is at certain heights. And now for the big event, a build! It's going to be really buggy, but I have enough features in place where I could open, play, and close the game without needing any outside help. Here's the footage from that. Hello, 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 and welcome to HoloJump. Hey! Okay, this is the build. I said that my intro because it's like, I'm playing a game now because I'm not gonna press start because I know that's just gonna quit out the game, so not start. That's not supposed to be like that. Okay, give me one moment. Right after I fix this UI issue. I know it's cut off, but I'm setting the UI to a consistent screen size of 1920 by 1080. Teehee, oopsies. Okay, now, hello. Yeah, I already done the intro. Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay, yay! Oh my gosh. Okay, so now we can jump, we can walk, we can run around the little hub. I basically locked myself in now. I don't think I could get past the door without. Yeah, no, there's no way. Okay, yeah, now I can actually like. Oh my gosh. It's always so much fun playing the first build of the game. Whenever you make it, even if it has like zero art, no sound, that's really interesting. Okay, I don't know how much time I've put into this video yet, so I'm just gonna click the finish line. And CC, give me my medal. Yeah, what? All right, there's a bug. Found one. Haha, that's gonna be fun. Picking out later. Okay, so now the question that I have is, I'm in a Tomo, right? And I got my medal. So I wonder now, if I leave and close out this build, will it still remember? It probably won't. I'll probably actually have to create a save file and write to it and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, it doesn't remember. All right, well, I mean, hey, I figured it was worth a shot. But yeah, now we can play Chatini, and we can go into here, then go into here. I still love having my dev buttons. Oh my gosh. And then I go over here, see it ahora, get my medal, leave here. Pause button didn't show up that time. I don't know why that okay. Can I? And I can. Oh my gosh, I am so excited, and I haven't had any like frame performance issues or anything like that, and I'm so happy with how this is coming out so far. Oh, I want to get my diamond medal. I want to see that working. Finish line and diamond medal. Yay! Oh, it looks so much better than just the gold medal with a blue tinge to it. Ew, that was bad. I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, well, I do know what I was thinking. I didn't feel like drawing or like recoloring the medal, but why did I go here? I was here and then it was just boop, but I didn't click this button. Did I click that button? No. Well, whatever. I'll figure that one out later, I guess. But yeah, okay. So that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching and get out of here.